Free at last. Thank God Almighty. Free at last. The game is over and Bryce Young's been benched.
What up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas.
And I'm T-Bone.
And welcome, everybody, to our Carolina Panthers Week 2 recap. Their matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers. The Panthers, with yet another dismal performance as they fall to the Chargers 26-3. And just as of today, the day we are recording, it has been announced that Bryce Young has been benched for Andy Dalton. T-Bone, as the residential Panthers fan, I want to get your thoughts on this game.
Pain, always pain, never anything good. We were crap. It was a crapshoot, but honestly, this crapshoot wasn't everyone's crapshoot. This was Bryce Young's crapshoot. He browned his pants. If I'm being honest, we were the defense and offense was a little bit cruddy at times because we're the Panthers. I mean, we let J.K. Dobbins run by us for like 4 times with 3 people trying to tackle him. But honestly, this is Bryce Young, his lack of footwork. In the last 2 games, we've been outscored 72 or 73 to 13. We've been outscored 73 to 13. Okay, so this is the breakdown. Okay, boom, first drive, touchdown. Okay, then we punt. Then we actually intercept. J.C. Horn, we intercept. Okay, you know what we do with that? We punt. Then they punt. Then we punt. Then they punt. Then we punt. Then they get a touchdown. Then Bryce Young throws his interception. All the while, we're getting maybe like 3 plays in, 2 plays, 1 or 4, 5, 6, 3 yards, maybe, not doing anything good. Okay, so after Bryce Young gets an interception, boom, another touchdown for them. Then we punt. That's the end of the half. Oh, we come out the gate swinging. We get a field goal. Then they get a field goal. Then we punt. Then they fumble. Then we punt. Then they field goal. Then we 4th down. Then they punt. We 4th down, and it's end of the game. The abysmal offense. But in this case, it's really all Bryce Young. Honestly, the O-line was doing pretty good at protecting him. He just was getting really, I guess shell-shocked is a good word. He was getting shell-shocked. He wasn't getting great. He wasn't doing a lot of good stuff. Dave Canales understood that, and he couldn't salesman way out of this one. This isn't any week 1 jitters. This is just crap. So, no, he said something has to change. And you know what has to change? Bryce Young. He really did crap. He did just nothing this game, okay? So we benched him. We benched him in his entirety. How awesome. It is nice. I mean, looking at the defense, we'd had a couple of good ideas. I can see the secondary puts pressure, despite the fact that, there was miscommunication last week, and that's why Derek Carr was able to throw so many on our head. J.C. Horn's still performing well enough. Shaq Thompson is doing well. It's just the fact that it's just abysmal. The completion doesn't even look bad. He just can't do anything. He's just not being confident. He's not throwing. His confidence is zapped. Okay? And he's just not performing well. It's not even his size. It really isn't, dude. It's not his size. That's the problem. So, if I'm being honest, personally, I think it's a good sign to bench Bryce. It's good. It's good to do that. I have come to the conclusion that he is either going to absorb so much from Andy Dalton and become the next coming of Patrick Mahomes, or he's not going to be able to athletically compete in this league, and he's going to be a bust. Because I do think if he doesn't perform here, he may perform a little bit better somewhere else. He's not going to go like crazy. Okay, so it's going to be pretty much the same spit, different day around, different teams if we happen to get rid of him. So I'm hoping, though, he does absorb from Andy Dalton because Andy Dalton is a solid quarterback and he really can show Bryce Young a lot, and Andy Dalton is still down to, be that mentor guy. So, and I'm sure he's happy he's starting. So, and Andy Dalton certainly can move people in this offense. I mean, this isn't the same exact offense as last year, but he's moving people. People were getting, yards were being thrown and stuff. So, with that being said, it's sad to see Bryce Young getting benched, because obviously the Panthers don't want to, you know, give up on a poor choice that they did, because right now it's just a lingering reminder of, hey, look how much you gave up for this. But honestly, no, it's important. Either Bryce Young's going to learn or he's not, and the sooner we find that out, the better. So put Andy Dalton in. I would say for the rest of the season, maybe give Bryce some reps. Season sounds aggressive, but honestly, it might be important to do that. Andy Dalton needs to be in the freaking front driver's seat for the foreseeable future, is what I'll say. Because this is just unacceptable. 84 yards, one interception. It's just abysmal. So it's all abysmal. I always blame David Tepper because this really all goes back to him. Next up is the Raiders. We certainly have a better chance of beating the Raiders than we do the Chargers, but then again, they just beat the Ravens, so who knows? Who knows anything anymore?
To be
My
fair,
vote.
the Raiders always just have like three just weird random upsets, but then they also lose to three teams that they should nuke. So like, the Raiders
Who
are
knows?
just weird. The Raiders are weird like that.
So I think the Raiders are going to beat us.
I do too. You're
But
not going to be one of their three
shut up.
inexplicable losses.
Shut up. Oh my God. Oh my God. All you do is ever talk, Vegas. All you do is talk.
Even though I've hardly
Quiet.
said a thing this video.
Quiet. Good. More people would probably enjoy that. People would probably like that. So, it's David Tepper's fault. It's always his fault. I hope he sells a team. I hope he stubs his toe. I hate him. I hate him. He's done nothing. He's a bad owner. He's a bad guy. No one likes him. He's stupid. Bryce Young was playing bad. Dave Canales has so far not been great. Who knows? Really, the change up in Andy Dalton being the number one guy, that'll be nice. And you can tell. I mean, Bryce Young's a good guy. He wants to do good. I know that, but he's just so out of touch. So he really, and I don't think we did him a service last year, and that's on us. So I blame this on him. I blame this on the Panthers. I blame this on David Tepper. David Canales might walk away with no blame just because he's new. So it's everyone's fault. We all suck. There are no bright spots. The defense is solid. It's more cohesive, I guess, despite the the injury to Derek Brown. Rip to him. Um, the defense is looking solid enough. So I am thinking that with Andy Dalton, we're at least going to look better on paper. And hopefully Bryce Young can absorb, like I said, hopefully he can absorb Andy Dalton and maybe become a good guy and become a little bit more athletic. There's not much you can do, but there are some things you can mitigate. So I'm hoping that happens. Is it going to happen? I don't know. I'm being hopeful, but that's the hope here. So good idea bringing in Andy Dalton. We're not going to do the same crap always. And that shows intelligence from Dave Canales. Because Frank Reich, lived and died by the freaking. He did have Andy Dalton in, but that's because Bryce Young was injured. So, and then immediately was putting in Bryce Young back. This is Dave Canales is like, no, we need a change. And I'm likely, Canales has sat down with Bryce Young and is like, look, you're not doing great, so we're going to hope that you absorb. And Bryce Young probably wants to absorb as much as anyone. So I think this is a smart move by Dave Canales. I'm hoping David Tepper doesn't lose his temper, but he will, because he sucks. Everyone hates him. I hate him so much. That ends my conversation. We're going to lose just like we always do.
So, the Carolina Panthers not a good football team. At all. And I fully respect Canales for making the right decision. When you watch the tape for the Carolina Panthers and you look at the stats, what do you see? You see receivers downfield that are open. You see an offensive line that had the best protection rate in pass pro all week. The best offensive line in pass protection this week in the league. Period. The end. That is the stat. It is the objective stat. And Bryce Young, we talked about last year. Bryce Young did not have any protection, and he did not have anyone open to throw the ball to. This year, he has the protection, he has the open receivers, and he looks worse. He looks worse. Some of that is on Canales for not having him ready, but credit to Canales for saying, okay, it's clear Bryce can't play. Andy, you're in. And he established that early in the week. And I appreciate that. He's not second-guessing himself. It's the right move for the team. And we talked about last year, after the Seahawks game, which Bryce was injured for, Andy Dalton came in and played very, very well. They lost the game to Seattle. But that's because they gave up a lot of points. That's a game where they actually scored points and looked competent on offense. And we said, at the time, that Bryce Young should be benched. And that Andy Dalton should lead the team for the rest of the season. And that Young should learn behind a been-there-done-that veteran quarterback. People forget, Dalton used to be pretty solid. He led the Bengals to the playoffs every single year. Obviously didn't go very far when you're in the AFC, which has Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, and Peyton Manning. And Phillip Rivers. It's really hard.
And Joe Flacco.
And Joe Flacco.
And Joe Flacco. In the division.
Yeah. Like, you have the Steelers and the Ravens just in that division. The fact that they made the playoffs as consistently as they did with Dalton's impressive. The Bengals had a solid team. But it's still really, really hard. Especially with how good the AFC was and who he had to deal with. Obviously, again, no deep playoff runs, but it was consistently in the playoffs every year. When it was harder to make the playoffs, too. So Dalton is a solid quarterback, a guy who Bryce could have learned behind. And, you know, you can parallel this to the New England Patriots Drake May situation. I guarantee the Patriots would not be as good as they are if May was starting right now. And May sitting behind a seasoned veteran in Brissett, in learning from that and learning from what Brissett has, which Brissett so far has played very solid fundamental football and does everything that May struggles with right in the best way possible. And I think that's going to help May in the long run. You saw what happened with Jordan Love, sat behind Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, 4 years is a bit extreme. But it still did wonders for Love. I think May is going to be much better off by not being thrown into the fire and from having a chance to learn. And that's what they should have done with Bryce last year. I think they're going to try it with Bryce this year. But Bryce really is just so shell-shocked from what happened last year that he's too afraid to make the right decisions. To try to make the play, to make the read, to do it. He's just so afraid. And I don't blame him, because he was thrown into the worst fire you could have asked for. The worst offensive line. One of the worst wide receiver cores in the NFL last year. Just couldn't do anything. That wasn't on him. The Panthers fumbled this bag. It ain't on Canales. Canales didn't fumble this bag. The bag was fumbled before Canales came. He just got what's left over, and what's left over ain't pretty. And I don't know if Bryce Young is recoverable. I hope for the sake of the Carolina Panthers that he is. But they screwed that up. And they are making a decision now that they should have made a year ago. Hopefully it turns out okay, but I think it's going to be really hard for Young to get rid of the bad habits that have developed over the last year. Either way, this is the right move for the Carolina Panthers, and hopefully they're able to have a solid outing against Las Vegas next week. T-Bone, any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Nope.
Alrighty then, please be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. We would love to hear what you all have to say. And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And we'll see you all in the next video.